Shri Sai Satcharitra, Chapter 4, Baba's First Advent in Shirdi. Missions of the Saints, Shirdi, a holy Tirth, Personality of Sai Baba, Dictum of Goulibuva, Appearance of Vithal in Kshirsagar story, Das Ganu's bath in Prayag, Immaculate Conception of Sai Baba and his first advent in Shirdi, the three Wadas. In the last chapter, I described the circumstances which led me to write Sai Satcharitra. Let me now describe the first advent of Sai Baba in Shirdi. Mission of the Saints. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, 7, 8, that whenever there is a decay of dharma, righteousness, and an ascendancy of unrighteousness, I manifest myself, and for the protection of the virtuous, the destruction of the vicious, and for the establishment of righteousness, I manifest myself in age after age. This is the mission of the Lord and the sages and saints, who are his representatives and who appear here at proper times to help in their own way to fulfill that mission. For instance, when the twice born, that is, the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas, neglect their duties, and when the Shudras try to observe the rites of higher classes, when spiritual preceptors are not respected but humiliated, when nobody cares for religious instructions, when everybody thinks of himself very learned, when people begin to partake of forbidden foods and intoxicating drinks under the cloak of religion, people indulge in malpractices, when people belonging to different sects fight amongst themselves, when Brahmins fail to do Sandhya adoration, and the Orthodox their religious practices, when yogis neglect their meditation, when people began to think wealth, progeny, wife are their sole concern, and thus turn away from the true path of salvation, then saints appear and try to set matters right by their words and action. They serve as beacon lights and show us the right path, the right way for us to follow. In this way, many saints such as Nivritti, Gyandev, Muktabai, Namdev, Gora, Gunai, Eknath, Tukaram, Narhari, Narsibhai, Sajan Kasai, Sawata, Ramdas, and various others appeared at various times to show the right path to people, and so presently came Shri Sai Baba of Shirdi. Shirdi, a holy Tirth. The banks of the Godavari river in the Ahmednagar district are very fortunate, for they gave birth and refuge to many a saint, prominent amongst them being Gyaneshwar. Shirdi also falls in the Kopargaon Taluka of Ahmednagar district. After crossing the Godavari river at Kopargaon, one gets the way to Shirdi. When you go 3 kos or 9 miles, you come to Nimgaon, from whence Shirdi is visible. Shirdi is as famous and as well known as other holy places like Gangapur, Narsiwari, Odambar on the banks of Krishna river. As the devotee Damaji flourished in and blessed Mangaldeva near Pandarpur, as Samarth Ramdas at Sajjangarh, as Sri Narsimha Saraswati at Saraswati Wadi, so Sainath flourished at Shirdi and blessed it. Personality of Sai Baba. It is on account of Sai Baba that Shirdi grew into importance. Let us see what sort of a personage Sai Baba was. He conquered this samsara, worldly existence, which is very difficult and hard to cross. Peace or mental calm was his ornament, and he was the repository of wisdom. He was the home of Vaishnava devotees, most liberal like Karna amongst liberals, the quintessence of all essences. He had no love for perishable things, and was always engrossed in self-realization, which was his sole concern. He felt no pleasure in the things of this world or the world beyond. His antarang, heart, was as clear as a mirror. His speech always rained nectar. The rich or poor people were the same to him. He did not know or care for honor or dishonor. He was the Lord of all beings. He spoke freely and mixed with all people. Saw actings and dances of nautch girls and heard ghazal songs. Still, he swerved not an inch from samadhi, his mental equilibrium. The name of Allah was always on his lips. While the world awoke, he slept, and while the world slept, he was vigilant. His abdomen inside was as calm as the deep sea. His ashram could not be determined, nor could his actions could be definitely determined, and though he sat and lived in one place, he knew the transactions of the world. His darbar was imposing. He told daily hundreds of stories. Still, he swerved not an inch from his vow of silence. He always leaned against the wall in the masjid, or walked morning, noon, and evening towards Lendi, Nala, and the Chavari. Still, he at times abided in the self. Though a siddha, he acted like a sadhaka. He was meek, humble, and egoless, and pleased all. Such was Sai Baba, and as the soil of Shirdi was trodden by Baba's feet, it attained extraordinary importance. As Gyaneshwar elevated Alandi, Eknath did to Python, so Sai Baba raised Shirdi. Blessed are the grass, leaves, and stones of Shirdi, for they could easily kiss the holy feet of Sai Baba and take their dust on their head. Shirdi became to us devotees another Pandharpur, Jagannath, Dwarka, Banaras, Kashi, and Rameshwar, Badri Kedar, Nasik, Triambakeshwar, Ujjain, and Mahakaleshwar or Mahabaleshwar, Gokarn. Contact of Sai Baba in Shirdi was like our Veda and Tantra. It quietened our sansara, worldly consciousness, and rendered self-realization easily. The darshan of Shri Sai was our yoga sadhana, and talk with him removed our sins. Shampooing his legs was our bath in Triveni Prayag, and drinking the water of his feet destroyed our desires. To us, his commands were Vedas, and accepting, eating his udi sacred ashes and prasad was qualifying. He was our Sri Krishna and Sri Rama, who gave us solace, and he was our Parabrahma, absolute reality, as he was himself beyond the pair of dvandvas, opposites, never dejected nor elated. He was always engrossed in his life as existence, knowledge, and bliss. Shirdi was his center, but his field of action extended far wide to Punjab, Calcutta, North India, Gujarat, Dhaka, now in Bangladesh, and Konkan. Thus the fame of Sai Baba spread far and wide, and people from all parts came to take his darshan and be blessed. By mere darshan, minds of people, whether pure or impure, would become at once quiet. They got the same sort of unparalleled joy that devotees get at Pandharpur by seeing Vithal Rakumai. This is not an exaggeration. Consider what a devotee says in this respect. Dictum of Goulibuva. An old devotee by name Goulibuva, aged about 95 years, was a Varkari of Pandari. He stayed 8 months at Pandharpur and 4 months Ashara to Kartik, July to November, on the banks of the Ganges. He had an ass with him for carrying his luggage, and a disciple as his companion. Every year he made his vari or trip to Pandharpur and came to Shirdi to see Sai Baba, whom he loved the most. He used to stare at Baba and say, "This is Pandharinath, Vithal incarnate, the merciful Lord of the poor and helpless." This Goulibuva was an old devotee of Vithoba and had made many a trip to Pandari, and he testified that Sai Baba was real Pandharinath. Vithal himself appeared. Sai Baba was very fond of remembering and singing God's name. He always uttered, Allah Malik, God is Lord, and in his presence made others sing God's name continuously, day and night for 7 days. This is called Nam Sapta. Once he asked Das Ganu Maharaj to do the same Nam Sapta. He replied that he would do it provided he was assured that Vithal would appear at the end of the 7th day. Then Baba, placing his hand on his breast, assured him that certainly Vithal would appear, but that the devotee must be earnest and devout. The Dankapuri Thakur of Thakurnath, the Pandhari of Vithal, the Dwarka of Ranchor Krishna is here in Shirdi. We need not go far out to see Dwarka. Will Vithal come here from some outside place? He is here. Only when the devotee is bursting with love and devotion, Vithal will manifest himself here in Shirdi. After the Sapta was over, Vithal did manifest himself in the following manner. Kaka Sahib Dikshit was, as usual, sitting in meditation after bath. He saw Vithal in a vision. When he went at noon for Baba's darshan, Baba asked him point blank, "Did Vithal Patil come? Did you see him? He is a very truant fellow. Catch him firmly, otherwise he will escape, if you be a little inattentive." This happened in the morning, and at noon there was another Vithal darshan. One hawker from outside came for selling 25 to 30 pictures of Vithoba. The picture exactly tallied with the figure that appeared in Kaka Sahib's vision. On seeing this and remembering Baba's words, Kaka Sahib Dikshit was much surprised and delighted. He bought one picture of Vithoba and placed it in his shrine for worship. Bhagwantrao Kshirsagar story. How fond was Baba for Vithal worship and illustrated in Bhagwantrao Kshirsagar story. The father of Bhagwantrao was a devotee of Vithoba and used to make varis, annual trips to Pandharpur. He also had an image of Vithoba at home, which he worshipped. After his death, the son stopped everything, the vari, the worship, the shraddha, ceremony, etc. When Bhagwantrao came to Shirdi, Baba, on remembering his father, at once said, "His father was my friend, so I dragged him, the son, here. He never offered Naivedya, offering of food, so he starved Vithal and me, so I brought him here. I shall now remonstrate and set him up to worship." Das Ganu's bath in Prayag. The Hindus think that a bath in the holy Tirth of Prayag, where the Ganga and Yamuna meet, is very meritorious, and thousands of pilgrims go there at periodical times to have sacred bath there. Once, Das Ganu thought that he should go to Prayag for a bath, and came to Baba to get his permission for doing so. Baba replied to him, "It is not necessary to go so long. Our Prayag is here, believe me." Then, wonder of wonders, when Das Ganu placed his head on Baba's feet, out came or flowed streams of Ganga Yamuna water from both the toes of Baba. Seeing this miracle, Das Ganu was overwhelmed with feelings of love and adoration and was full of tears. Inwardly he felt inspired, and his speech burst forth into a song in praise of Baba and his Leelas. Immaculate Conception of Sai Baba and his first advent in Shirdi. Nobody knew the parents, birth or birthplace of Sai Baba. Many inquiries were made, many questions were put to Baba and others regarding these items, but no satisfactory answer or information has yet been obtained. Practically, we know nothing about these matters. Namdev and Kabir were not born like ordinary mortals. They were found as infants in mother of pearls. Namdev being found on the bank of Bhimrathi river by Gonai, and Kabir on the bank Bhagirathi river by Tamal. Similar was the case with Sai Baba. He first manifested himself as a young lad of 16 under a neem tree in Shirdi for the sake of bhaktas. Even then he seemed to be full with knowledge of Brahman. He had no desire for worldly objects even in dreams. He kicked out Maya, and Mukti, deliverance, was serving at his feet. One old woman of Shirdi, mother of Nana Chobdar, described him thus: "This young lad, fair, smart, and very handsome, was first seen under the neem tree, seated in an asan. The people of the village were wonderstruck to see such a young lad practicing hard penance, not minding heat and cold. By day he associated with none, by night he was afraid of nobody. People were wondering and asking whence this young chap had turned up. His form and features were so beautiful that a mere look endeared him to all. He went to nobody's door, always sat near the neem tree. Outwardly he looked very young, but by his action he was really a great soul. He was the embodiment of dispassion and was an enigma to all. One day it so happened that god Kandoba possessed the body of some devotee, and people began to ask him, 'Deva, God, you please inquire what blessed father's son is this lad, and whence did he come?' God Kandoba asked them to bring a pickaxe and dig in a particular place. When it was dug, bricks were found underneath a flat stone. When the stone was removed, a corridor led to a cellar where a cow-mouth-shaped structure, wooden boards, and necklaces were seen. Kandoba said, 'This lad practiced penance here for 12 years. Then people began to question the lad about this. He put them off the scent by telling them that this was his guru's place, his holy watan, and requested them to guard it well. The people then closed the corridor as before. As Ashwatha and Odambar trees are held sacred, Baba regarded the neem tree equally sacred and loved it the most. Mahalsapati and other Shirdi devotees regard this site as a resting place, Samadhi Stan, of Baba's Guru, and prostrate before it. 3 Wadas. 1. The site with the neem tree and surrounding space was bought by Mr. Hari Vinayak Sate, and on this site a building styled Sate's Wada was erected. This Wada was the sole resting place for pilgrims who flocked there. A par or platform was built around the neem tree, and lofts with steps were constructed. Under the steps there is a niche facing south, and devotees sit on the par or platform facing the north. It is believed that he who burns incense there on Thursday and Friday evenings will by God's grace be happy. This Wada was old and dilapidated and wanted repairs. The necessary repairs, additions and alterations have been now made by the Sansthan. 2. Then, after some years, another Wada, Dikshit's Wada, was constructed. Kaka Sahib Dikshit, solicitor of Bombay, had gone to England. He had injured his leg by an accident there. The injury could not be got rid of by any means. Nana Sahib Chandorkar advised him to try Sai Baba. So he saw Sai Baba in 1909 AD and requested him to cure rather the lameness of his mind than that of his leg. He was so much pleased with the darshan of Sai Baba that he decided to reside in Shirdi. So he built a wada for himself and other devotees. The foundation of this building was laid on 10/12/1910. On this day, 2 other important events took place. 1. Dada Sahib Kharpare was given permission to return home. 2. The arti in the Chavri was commenced. The wada was complete and was inhabited on the Ram Navami day in 1911 AD, with due rites and formalities. Number 3. Then another wada or palatial mansion was put up by the famous millionaire Mr. Booty of Nagpur. Lots of money was spent on this building. but the amount was well utilized. As Sai Baba's body is resting in this Wada, which is now called the Samadhi Mandir, the site of this mandir had formerly a garden which was watered and looked after by Baba. 3 Wadas thus sprang up, where there was none formerly. One of these, Sate's Wada, was most useful to all in the early days. The story of the garden attended to by Sai Baba with the help of Vaman Tatya, the temporary absence of Sai Baba from Shirdi, and his coming again to Shirdi with the marriage party of Chand Patil, the company of Devidas, Janki Das and Gangagir, Baba's wrestling match with Mohideen Tamboli, precedence in masjid, love of Mr. Dangley and other devotees, and other incidents will be described in the next chapter. Bow to Shri Sai, peace be to all.